Hey everyone, I wanted to show you all this new community post by Blizzard talking about library and moon clan encampment, specifically for farming experience. Everyone was touting how great this area was, and I had run some math the previous days, and I found that it was just way worse than it was before. Initially, I thought it was because of the AFKers and the spooners, which I do think did have an impact on it, but it looks like after finding this post that it was just nerfed. So you can see here, a hotfix was applied yesterday. This is June 16th, so I imagine yesterday would have been June 15th. That adjusted the volume of spawns in specific areas in Mount Zaven and Library of Zoltan Kuhl. Now, this is huge, so we need to figure out what areas in the game are better for farming, and it's really just quite simple, and we're going to talk about all that. Let's jump into it. So I really just quickly wanted to show you the library at its current state. This was taken about 20 minutes ago. I just ran in there, recorded me for about a couple of minutes. I didn't even need much time because it's obviously much worse. There are I can't even get a kill streak going as a solo player, which was easily able to be done beforehand. Yeah, you might not have gotten to those really crazy, 100+ kill streaks or infinite kill streaks, but as a solo player you should have easily been able to acquire at least 20 to 30 kill streaks. But you can see here I'm literally running around in the room and not finding a monster to kill, it's actually quite obvious how terrible it is. And this isn't like a situation where there's not a lot of people in the area, so the spawn rates are already lower. We have about 7 players in the area farming the library currently, and you can see here there are just large stretches where there's no one. Like, these people are over here hitting monsters, and it's like 1 to 2 monsters instead of a group of 6 to 7. It's really sad to see. And in total, before the nerf, it was about 75k experience per minute if you had a dedicated party without any AFKers in the area. And then nowadays it's about 30k experience. Now, that was obviously a smaller sample size, but the point is that it's significantly worse than it was before. And so what replacements can we make? Because really quickly, I wanted to showcase what it was like in the library before. This was about 4 or 5 days ago. You could just see the volume of monsters, even on the mini map here, with several people in the area. Now, this was a dedicated group of 4 people in the area. You could see that yellows are spawning more often, blues are spawning more often, the normal monsters are spawning more often. And this was the clip I took when I was getting 75k experience per minute. In fact, I was actually getting 80k experience per minute, but I took an average of my party, and which we ended up with an average about 75k. Now, this is obviously including the monster's essence as well, but I just wanted to really quickly showcase this clip. Actually goes on. I recorded for about 30 minutes of dedicated farming, and then we continued onwards after that. But this, the difference in just sheer monster volume here is so obvious compared to the previous clip that I just showed you. So I also want to show you the Moon Clan encampment farming, which is actually quite solid still despite the nerf. This is a clip of the Moon Clan encampment farm, and it's in Mount Zaven. Now, this area is, I ran it last night, and it is not as good as it was before. Now, this clip was taken from what it was before, but it is better than library. So if you're interested in open world farming, I've found that this area is better. Now, why is it better or anything like that? Well, for one, you have more monster spawns in the area that it's allowed it. So between this area on the map and then this upper area, if you decide to go finish off some quests, and then also the area on the right, you're going to get more monsters to kill. However, they're more spread out, so you're going to get less kill streaks than the library. But with the current spawn rate of monsters in the library and the Moon Clan, I believe that 1,000 kill streaks are just going to be extremely hard unless you have perfectly tuned groups, or just not enough players or not a lot of players in the area, so they're not taking your kills. I do think that running one party is going to be the optimal way in a lot of these areas. Running 2 parties is something that I was doing in the Moon Clan, and I think that's better in the Moon Clan than it is in the library due to the way the spawning works. Now, there's also another thing with this Moon Clan, and you can just see I've just picked up an alchemical shrine, and there's 2 shrine spawns between here and across this bridge, and it's very likely for you to drop those alchemical shrines as well as the XP globe shrines, and that is where you're going to make up the really drastic experience difference between this area and the library. What I was finding is about this area was 45k experience per minute. Now, again, this is nothing compared to what it was before, and these areas are both worse than other areas in the game, and I'll go over those in just a moment. But this is just so sad to see because, I mean, our experience rates were already pretty poor, especially for someone like myself who is at a 40% and was at a 30% experience rate last night. So nerfing our experience rates this much is quite drastic. But that being said, I have had a video on Elder Rifts, and I'll just talk about those and run one for you in just a minute here. So here we are, we're at the Elder Rift, and I have 1.7 million experience here. And we're just gonna run a timer here. I'm gonna start it just before I click on the Elder Rift, and then do it up until I'm actually able to enter the next Elder Rift, just to see what it's like in order for us to calculate all the downtime and things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer here, and let's see what it's like. So start the timer, enter the Rift, and I might be like 30 seconds off or something like that, but that's all okay. And we're gonna see how much experience we're able to get within the time allotted. And while we're running, assuming as fast as we can, it's not gonna be perfect, obviously. And based on the previous time I was actually able to run these Elder Rifts, it was 145. I was getting about 60k experience a minute, which is quite solid, especially considering that library was previously 70k, well, 75k, and now it is atrociously low at 30k. Now, there is a chance that the library is a little bit better, and I may have just gotten unlucky, but whether it was unlucky or not, the point is that it's significantly lower than it was, and I don't think it's even close. Just by looking at the spawn rates when I was there, it is really, really low. But Elder Rifts are still solid. The only problem with Elder Rifts compared to the open world farming is that when you were open world farming, you have the advantage of getting the legendary drop rate at a much higher rate compared to Elder Rifts. So if that is something that matters a lot to you, you may just want to continue open world farming and abandon Elder Rifts because you're going to get less legendary drops from Elder Rifts, but you absolutely can still get legendary drops. It's just that it'll be much lower because the best area is the way to get all those legendary drops that you were looking for. But it looks like this is going to be a minute 30, maybe a minute 40, around that time, a minute 30. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the Elder Rift and then stop the timer there because I believe that is the most accurate representation. So let's go ahead and leave the portal, and I'll stop it as soon as we load in. So at around that time here, we are cruising in on 1 minute 58 seconds. And that is about the same amount of time that it took for me previously. When I was testing Elder Rifts, my previous video, I ran Elder Rifts at 1 minute 45. And although it says a minute 45 average, I was recording for the full 30 minutes, including the time that it took to load. So even though it says 1 minute 58 seconds here, that's about the same time that it was running last time. We can go ahead and check the experience here. And if we round up, we're at 1.7 million experience to about 2 minutes. And so that's 25k experience a minute there. And if we multiply by the Paragon experience, that's about 50k in experience per minute. And so you can see there, yes, the experience is quite low in terms of 50k experience per minute, not including the Paragon level. And by the way, anytime I mention experience, it's always assuming 100% experience. So if you're at Paragon, 10 levels, 20 levels above or whatever, and you're at 10% experience, yeah, it's not going to be 40k experience in the library. It's going to be 4k experience in the library. So keep that in mind when we're doing all this calculations. But you can see here, Elder Rifts are at about 50k experience per minute, whereas the library and the Moon Clan, I was receiving less. And if you're able to load faster, if you're able to do the Elder Rifts faster, you're going to get more experience. But overall, I would say that the library the Moon Clan and the Elder Rifts are all kind of on par. I still think that Elder Rifts are a little bit better, but the downside to Elder Rifts is that you're not going to get those legendary drops. And so if that's something that interests you, then that's going to be something that you're going to want to farm for anyways. And for myself, although I do want to experience, Elder Rifts are just not going to give me as many legendary drops as the other areas, and I really want triple stat legendaries, so I'll be farming the open world still, despite it being nerfed. I'll probably stick to some other areas instead of the library, just because everyone knows about the library and it is nerfed, and so the XP is even less. So I'll probably be going into some other areas. That being said, hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully this gave you an additional information about all the new areas, the Moon Clan and the library, which were specifically targeted, and just to compare it to the Elder Rift farming live on the video here for you. Now, it could be more, it could be a little bit less. That's only one Elder Rift, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt that it is. But I will say that 60k experience is what I got on my previous testing of over an hour of doing Elder Rift straight. So there you go, and I will see you for the next one.